Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, one of the things that I talked about a couple of years ago, I really started to talk a lot about it, but I've kind of gone away from it, and that is that some of the major bass pros have discovered that one of the things that they may have used as a kid that now can be effective for bass is fishing spoons. And we don't talk a lot about fishing spoons. You know, spoons are tremendous for trout, and a lot of the guides that make their existence on Lake Ontario, that's how they catch most of their trout and salmon, is trolling spoons. And spoons can be very effective. They're different. They have a different action in the water than anything else. They're much different than a spinner. And, you know, we have spinner baits for bass, but I'm telling you, some of these spoons in even larger sizes, big 9-inch spoons, can be very effective for bass. And it's something that I think we should be aware of. You know, recently I had a chance to speak with one of our forest rangers for New York State. And he was talking about how he personally is loving to fish our ponds for trout. And what he uses is a traditional tremendous lure, which is a lake clear wobbler. This is a great big spoon that was invented here in New York State. And you tie this onto your line, and then at the end of that spoon, you tie a bunch of leader, and then at the end of that, you may use an angleworm. And this has been a tremendous way to fish for brook trout. Well, the reason is that spoon elicits a certain type of flash and action that attracts the fish. They wonder, what in the world are they seeing? And they come up, and then they see the worm behind it, and they strike it. And I haven't talked enough about spoons, but I think that bass anglers, they should add this to their repertoire. I know in the past I used to talk with Jigger Jim all the time about the fishing on Black Lake, and he and his son fish all the time for bass. And his son Seth had really got enamored with fishing these great big spoons, and he was catching smallmouth and largemouth bass all the time on these spoons. We don't hear enough about this. And I think, you know, we're always wanting to make sure we have the right lure when we go out there, and adding this to our arsenal might be an important thing. You can find spoons in any tackle shop. They're so popular for other species. You know, I think it's an important thing that people realize this. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.